Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 12. I am Uyai Anyekan, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at the major stories. President Bola Tinubu pledges to support NDLEA others in anti-drug war. Governor Moino institutes 100 million naira education intervention fund to assist physically challenged students. Plus, U.S. President Joe Biden says too early to define fallout from Russia turmoil. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. First in the news this afternoon is Nigeria's leader, President Bola Tinubu, who has said his administration will work closely with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, and its international partners to fight the menace of drug abuse. He urged stakeholders to take a people-centered approach in addressing drug addiction, saying addicts are also humans who deserve understanding and support to recover from the downward path of drugs. Tinubu said in his opening address at the national conference to mark this year's International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking at the State House, Abuja. The president, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, said interventions to address drug use and its associated consequences must recognize the individual and address the social stigma that comes with the menace. Away from that, the federal government has declared Wednesday, June 28 and Thursday, June 29, 2023 as Eid al-Kabir holiday. This was contained in a statement by a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Interior, Oluwatoyin Akinlade. According to the statement, the public holidays is in commemoration of this year's Eid al-Kabir celebration and to heartily facilitate with the Muslim Ummah at home and in the diaspora. Akinlade enjoined Muslims and all Nigerians to make sacrifices for the growth and development of communities and country at large. The permanent secretary expressed hope that the prayers and sacrifices of the season will restore the much desired peace and unity the country desires. In a separate development, the Acting Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, has directed all police patrol vehicles to obey traffic rules and regulations as part of efforts to ensure the adequate protection of the meeting with squadron commanders of the Police Mobile Force, PMF, and Special Protection Unit, SPU. Speaking at the meeting, the IGP emphasized that the maintenance of law and order and the protection of lives, property are the primary duties of the police. He said the police officers must strictly adhere to the code of conduct of the police and conduct themselves in a manner that would command them respect from the public, while charging the force to tackle banditry, kidnapping, insurgency, and other security threats affecting the country. Egbetokun revealed that a special committee headed by the DIG operations had been set up to that effect. Meanwhile, retired Assistant Inspector General of Police Nuhu Ribadu has officially taken over from Major General Babagana Muguno as Nigeria's National Security Advisor, NSA. At a brief event in Abuja, Ribadu, on assumption, promised to live up to the expectations of Nigerians and secure the country from all forms of insecurity such as terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, amongst others. He added that the national security will stabilize and secure the country as well as make Nigeria peaceful, restore order and rule of law just like other countries in the world.
We are coming in here. We will look at what has been done and build on it. A lot has been done so far. I belong to this profession.
Gratitude to the Almighty God for enabling me to serve for such a long time and also allowing me to depart in good health so that I can enjoy the rest of my days in an atmosphere that is bereft of the type of tension, the type of pressures that are associated with this all-important office. I'm also wishing, in the same vein, that Malanu Ribadu will.
On security, the Commandant General Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ahmed Aldi, says the agency has aligned with President Bola Tinubu's zero tolerance for oil theft, advising oil thieves to leave the country or be neutralized. Aldi said President Tinubu has a tough stand against oil theft, stressing that oil thieves would not have it easy with his men. He said the NSCDC under him would not condone compromise from any personnel in the ongoing war against oil theft. The Commandant General Division, the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has deployed about 2,000 operatives to man roads in Ogun State as the festival holds on Wednesday, June 28. The Ogun FRSC spokesperson Florence Okwe said the operation was to enable the Muslim faithful and other Nigerians have each free movement to celebrate with their families and friends by averting the chaos that characterized the road during such celebrations. The operation, according to Okwe, would focus on dangerous driving, overtaking, speeding, line indiscipline, seatbelt violation, lack of passengers manifest, use of phone while driving, drunk driving, amongst others. She advised motorists traveling during the period to celebrate with their families and friends to adhere to traffic rules and regulations. On the home front, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino has instituted a 100 million naira education intervention fund to assist the physically challenged students of Akwa Ibom origin and other disabled students residing in the state and studying in public tertiary institutions across the state. The state governor announced the University of Uyo chapter of the National Association of Students with Disabilities, led by the President, Comrade Emmanuel Wisdom, who were on a courtesy visit to the governor at the Government House, Uyo. Announcing the intervention, Governor Umoino said that he was moved by the passion to give the student body a sense of belonging to underscore the political inclusion drive of his administration. He warned against bureaucratic bottlenecks in the disbursement of the fund, explaining that the gesture is to encourage and make life easier for them.
This is also in keeping with the campaign promises that we made, that by the grace of God, if God, through your support, sees us into the office, we will run an inclusive government. And that inclusivity is just inclusivity. We want to include everyone, men, women, physically challenged, party lines, everything. We bring people together and talk with them. We walked with you through with our young man who is graduated now from the University of Uyo, Faculty of Law, and he needs to go to the law school. So we thought we should meet and make sure he goes to the law school and for him to fulfill his life ambition. The physically challenged unit, I think, is with the Ministry of Women Affairs. But I've brought the Ministry of Education here because we need to set up a fund, an immediate fund that both ministries will manage. The Accountant General will look at it and the SSG will facilitate it. We'll put 100 million naira into that fund immediately to support all disabled or physically challenged students in tertiary institutions, government, public tertiary institutions in this of Akwa Ibom, that is Akwa Ibom students in public tertiary institution. Please let me get that very clear. Akwa Ibom students or those of them that reside in Akwa Ibom. If they are not Akwa Ibomites but they reside here, there's proof that they live here and they are physically challenged, they are in any public tertiary institution, that money is set aside for them.
In the meantime, residents of the Akwa Ibom state capital have lamented the high cost of transportation due to the fuel subsidy removal by President Bola Tinubu. They said a drop from one distance to another has increased from 50 to 150 naira, some 100 to 250 or 300 naira also. The price of fuel has increased to 450 naira, 480 naira in most filling stations, some 500 naira. While speaking with Spectrum Television, they called on the government to make available more government refineries at
What I can say about the subsidy removal is that it's really affecting life. So let them try and cushion the matter so that everything will normalize. The fuel price is really affecting. 550 is affecting. Before I used to buy 1,500 naira fuel, but now I buy up to 5,000, 6,000 sometimes. So there is no gain in transportation anymore. So let the president talk about the issue.
Before we buy 220, 210, depends on the station that you went to. If it is government station like NNPC, you buy it 197. Others you buy 220, but this time we are buying 450, 445, like these people are saying now. They are saying 445. Before now, I don't use up to 5,000 naira fuel to go where I go to. But now, I will use 9,000. It will not even take me to that place and come back. It's affecting me seriously, affecting my business, affecting my family. Well, I don't say they should remove the subsidy, because when the subsidy was there, it's people that were eating the money. But let them do something that will favor A and B, not only the rich.
The place that you normally paid 50 naira now is 250 naira. Sometimes it's 300 naira. If you're a businessman that used to sell something of 500 naira, you have to increase to 1,000 naira, which will affect the economy of the nation. We don't have a refinery. There is no refinery in Nigeria. We used to import fuel. The subsidy that they removed, the government is removed. There is no how the government will be able to use the fuel amount you used to bought before. That refinery is not enough. We need more refinery. So I pray for the present government to do something about it, to revert about our refinery to working.
We move now to Africa, where as counting continues in Sierra Leone's contested general election, the former mayor of Freetown, Yvonne Akitoya, has echoed opposition allegations that the tallying process is not transparent. Akitoya said 60% of the vote has been announced, but before he announces the remaining 40%, there is a need for everyone to be given access to the information. Reports say so far the incumbent president Julius Maada Bio appears to have a strong lead over his rival Samura Kamara. Meanwhile, the Commonwealth Observer Group has said a lack of clarity on how Sierra Leone presidential election results are being tallied. The remaining results. The chairman of the Observer Group, Yemi Oshibajo, said in a statement that the election has been largely peaceful, but there were, however, reports of logistical challenges which caused delays on election day. On the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden has said it is too early to draw definitive conclusions on the impact of the Wagner mercenary group's aborted march against Moscow and stressed his efforts to maintain Western unity on Ukraine. Biden stressed, however, that he and key Western allies were in close touch and that he had also told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that U.S. support will remain strong. He said that no matter what happened in Russia, the United States will continue to support Ukraine's defense and sovereignty and its territorial integrity. Biden said he told Zelensky over the weekend as rebel Wagner troops briefly took over a key southern Russian city and threatened to enter Moscow.
The situation began to develop as it prepared for a range of scenarios. I also convened our key allies on a Zoom call to make sure we're all on the same page. It's critical that we're coordinated in our response and coordinated in what we to anticipate. They agreed with me that we had to make sure we gave Putin no excuse. Let me emphasize, we We gave Putin no excuse to blame this on the West or to blame this on NATO. We made clear that we were not involved. We had nothing to do with it. This was part of a struggle within the Russian system. I also talked at length with President Zelensky of Ukraine. I'll be keeping in contact with him. I may be peeking him later today, early tomorrow morning, to make sure we continue to remain on the same page. I told him that no matter what happened in Russia.
Still on the foreign scene, Russia's Federal Security Service has said today that it will drop the case against the Wagner paramilitary group after its fighters staged an attempted rebellion on Saturday that threatened President Vladimir Putin's grip on power. The Russian Defense Ministry said Wagner Private Military Company will hand over its heavy military equipment to active units of the Russian armed forces. Recall that on Monday, Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin claimed that the mercenary group was due to leave its positions on June 30 and hand over equipment to the southern military district in Rostov, Russia. However, he said Russia's military attacked Wagner forces on Friday, days before that handover was due to take place. Still to come in the news. Manchester City make 90 million euros offer for West Ham captain Declan Rice. Stay with us for details after this time out. Thanks for staying tuned, and now to the rest of the news stories. On our business news, the World Bank Group says it has approved a loan of $500 million to help Nigeria drive women's empowerment. In a statement by the World Bank, the loan is for Women Program Scale Up, which will further support the government to invest in improving the livelihoods of women in Nigeria. It further noted that the NFWPSU will help to ensure better economic opportunities for women, which is essential for addressing gender inequality, guaranteeing better education, health and nutrition outcomes for families, as well as building women's and communities' resilience to climate change. The World Bank stressed the need for governments to address issues that inhibit women's economic empowerment and hinder inclusive, low-carbon and resilient economic growth. Still in business, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, has revealed that Nigeria's oil production has continued to fall below the target set for it by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, in the first 5 months of 2023, leading to a production of 56% of total expected output during the period. Data from the organization revealed that given a 1.742 million daily production quota, the country was expected to produce an estimated 261.3 million barrels during the period, but rather its total volume between January and May 2023 was at 181.5 million barrels. Reports say the figure indicates that Nigeria was unable to produce about 44% of its OPEC quota allocation during the period under consideration, which has led to a slash in the country's production baseline for 2024 by the International Oil Cartel. It, however, noted that while market forces and OPEC stabilization policies have helped to keep prices around the expected benchmark, Nigeria's production has been lagging behind. We move now to health, where the federal government says it is concerned that in spite of efforts to curb drug abuse, the menace has reached an epidemic proportion that presently requires concerted efforts by all. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Health, Olufunso Adebiyi, made this statement in Abuja during a news conference. Adebiyi, who was represented by the Director of Food and Drug Services, Olubumi Ariebiana, noted that drug trafficking and use are not only a threat to security, governance and development of a nation, but also to the health of its citizenry. He further stated that as much as there are supply reduction strategies and criminal sanctions by law enforcement towards curbing access to illicit drugs and their non-medical use, there is still need to match such measures with innovative drug demand reduction strategies. Still in health, the pioneer Director General of the National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment, Usman Aliyu, has urged President Bola Tinubu to help fund the center to curb the rate at which people are coming down with the disease. This was as he urged the federal government to make cancer research a priority by capturing the center's funding in its 2024 budget. The DG made the appeal during a media parley and sensitization campaign at its secretariat in Abuja. The permanent secretary said the number of cases was more than twice the global prevalence of 5.6% among the adult population. Aliyu called on stakeholders in the health sector to contribute by coordinating and harmonizing of pockets of cancer incidents, as well as make research across the country a priority. We move now to sports. Treble winners Manchester City have made a formal £90 million bid for West Ham captain Declan Rice. However, Arsenal is expected to put forward a third bid for the 24-year-old, England midfielder, as negotiations over his future intensify. The Gunners' offer of an initial £75 million in 4 payments plus a £15 million add-on was short at the £100 million. The Hammers are looking for in sealing the deal for Rice, who led West Ham to European success with the victory over Fiorentina in the Europa Conference League final, setting him up as the ideal candidate. Still in sports, England is set to begin their World Cup defense against New Zealand in Hambendard on October 5 in a repeat of the dramatic 2019 final. The country, who won on boundary count back after the match was tied twice and are currently double world champions in the white ball format after beating Pakistan in the final of the T20 World Cup in Australia last year. Reports say England's opener will be taking place at the 132,000 capacity Narendra Modi Stadium, and the team will play 2 warm-up matches before the tournament, against India on 30th September and against a qualifier on October 2 in Guwahati. On our entertainment news, Nigeria award-winning singer Tenny is set to release her second single. She's been very vocal about her new sound, which she boasts is better than what other artists can craft. Meanwhile, the release date for the new single is yet to be announced. Still on entertainment, American rapper Nicki Minaj has been sued for allegedly stealing the beats for her song I Lied from another artist. The rapper is being sued alongside mega producer Mike Will by Julius Johnson, who is claiming that the music playing under the vocals on Nicki's track from the Pink Print sounds like a carbon copy of a song he created years before she dropped I Lied. Johnson claims he published his song called On My Sleeve on YouTube in September 2011. 3 years before I Lied came out. He's also claiming that he had the beat on a hard drive when he attended the Art Institute of Atlanta, but the hard drive was taken from a studio session without his consent in 2013. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do well to follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum TV News at 12. I am Uyai Aniekan. Thanks for watching and do enjoy the rest of your day.